Welcome to Pussy Power. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Pussy Power. As the title says, we're going to be talking about that one time my boyfriend almost fucked up and almost cheated on me. So this is super interesting because if you've been watching my YouTube uploads and listening to my podcast, then you've probably already seen me film a couple episodes with my boyfriend of 7 months now. And interestingly, this is actually our very first healthy and functional relationship for the both of us. But as you know, as the title says, it hasn't always been that way. You know, men fuck up sometimes, and in some cases they fuck up a lot of times. So before we get to that point, I think it's helpful to talk about kind of how we met. Basically, he saw me online. He saw one of my webinars because a team member that he has told him about me and about how I could be a pretty cool guest for their podcast as well and their show. So he hit me up, and right off the bat I knew he was hitting on me. He actually it's so funny, he sent me this fucking canned message. At the time, obviously I didn't know it was canned, but the moment that we got together and I saw his other messages to other girls, I saw that it was indeed his opener, and I was literally a victim of his funny yet seemingly personalized opener. And so we were talking, and we almost actually didn't meet online because of the fact that he missed our meetings when we set them. I literally would wait 5 minutes on Zoom and I'd be like, fuck this shit. This is not cool at all, because he wasn't showing up. That happened twice. And then he got COVID, and I was like, okay, fine, it's not happening. But then, after a couple weeks, I reached out to him, and I was like, hey, this was the meeting that never happened. And when I reach out to people, it's almost always usually because, okay, let's get down to business. Let's see how we can benefit off of each other. It's almost very utilitarian, as my pseudo-ex would say. And so we got on Zoom for the first time. And right off the bat, I just knew that he had bullshitter jeans. Not jeans, but he had this bullshitter vibes where it was super, he was such a sweet talker. And I was like, okay, I've seen this. KKK, whatever. And because I was also at that point in my life where I was open to meeting people and open to dating and wanting to really connect with guys, when he asked me out, I was stressed out about my old business. So I was like, okay, fuck, I need a vacation, let's go. And so we had our very first date / vacation together in Okada, Manila. And after that, he was okay, I think this could be something more, so let's just not see other people. And I was like, I still want to see other people, but looking at the quality of guys on Tinder and the inconsistent guys I was already going out with, I was like, okay, fine, whatever, let's see where this goes. So I did, and I agreed to not entertain all the other guys who were asking me out and hitting me up. And everything was going smoothly, going pretty well, until he invited me to his place for the second time. And I was already on the way. I was like inside the freaking plane in my seat, excited to have our third vacation together. And one of my friends messages me saying, hey, like, are you and Madge like a thing? And I was like, ha ha ha, yes we are, why? And then, lo and behold, she shows me receipts of him flirting with her. And it was right around the time when we had our second vacation at this private, at this resort together. And I was like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? I was inside the plane and my hands were shaking. I was like I was mad because it felt very unfair to me. I was like, fuck this dude. I had a guy waiting for my answer and wanting to take me out to Sofitel. And this motherfucker just literally flirts with my friend. Like, what the fuck? So I hear my friend out and she shows me these like screenshots where he was like full on flirting with her right around the time when we were having our second vacation together. And that really fucking turned me off. So I was inside the plane and I was thinking, okay, motherfucker, I'm just gonna fly to where he is and I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind. So all the while inside the plane, I was thinking of how I was gonna deliver my exit speech. And I had to like collect myself because I was like angry about how fucking unfair it was that I held up my end of the deal and he fucking didn't. I was like, this shit is not fair. I'm out. And like there's like judges on, not judges, but like sharks on Shark Tank. They'd be like, I'm out. That was me. I was like, I am fucking out. I'm not putting up for this shit. So the plane lands and I got my stoic poker face on. Very like, whatever, let's get this shit over and done with. I'm just gonna give him a piece of my mind and I'm gonna fly back to, my place. So the plane lands and he was texting me. He was like asking about where to pick me up. And so I disembarked from the plane with my luggage, literally just like poker face. And when he saw me, he was like really bubbly and lit up and he was like hugging me. And I didn't hug him back. I was like literally dead on poker face. So we were walking and when we got to his car, I was literally just calming myself down with my breaths and like chilling out because I didn't wanna come off as like batshit crazy or anything like that. So I turned to him and I was like, I didn't know you had this thing with my friend. And he goes like, I don't know what you mean, like what, like that's not true. And then I was like, I pulled up the receipts and I showed him, okay, she told me this, she showed me this, blah, 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 blah. Here are screenshots. Listen, I don't think this is gonna happen. And all of a sudden, he broke down in front of me. He was like fucking crying, like a grown ass man crying in front of me. And I was like, I do not have space for this bullshit, first and foremost. So how about we just call it quits? I'm just gonna wait for the next available flight and I'm gonna come home. And to be fair, like, he really did try to, like, he did his best to win me back, obviously. And he was very apologetic. He cleared things up and he said he wasn't really like serious about her or digging her. He was just like literally feeling a kindred spirit with her. And I was like, not having it, because there is no fucking way that I'm gonna be stupid about this, and there is no fucking way that I'm gonna let some stranger do that to me. Like, there was no fucking way. So we go to his place and I settled down for a bit. I was looking at like the next flight, literally still collecting myself, because it really fucking triggered me. Like, it just made me feel like my body was on fire, pretty much. And that night he literally was like saying everything he could to like make me stay. And I definitely was not in that frame of mind where I thought, of course I'm gonna stay. I was not in that frame of mind. Because in my head, I thought that I saw who I was dealing with. And it kind of confirmed the bullshitter vibes that I got from him the moment he first messaged me. And so my chin was like held high the entire time. And he was breaking down, he was crying, he was begging me to stay. He literally like showed me this entire set of essential oils that he bought for like $500, and I was almost like feeling sorry for this guy, like, okay, whatever, enjoy it by yourself. And he planned out a lot of things for our vacation, but I was not having it. So I went on with my life that night. I slept on his bed because there was no way I was gonna fucking sleep on the couch. And I thought, okay, just stay at his place and literally just take the next flight home. Before that, over dinner, he was still, explaining himself, blah, blah, blah. Until the next day, I was just like, okay, fuck this shit. Let's have this, like, one last time, call it quits, and then move on with our lives, whatever. So that was what was on my mind. It became very utilitarian, if I'm gonna be very honest with you, because it felt like, okay, you fucked with me, fine. So whatever, let's do this one last hurrah, and then I'm never gonna have to see you ever again. And I get to chill out at a really nice place and just like do some spiritual kumbaya or whatever. It ended up not being that way, obviously. He's kidnapped me 7 months in, and I'm still here, a willing victim, quote unquote. But what really happened there was, I knew just from like my gut telling me that he did have some like bullshitter, sweet talker vibes. I knew that that wasn't gonna fly with me, and I knew I deserved something and someone who was much better than that. So because because I communicated my standards, and because I wasn't having any of that shit, it pretty much showed him that I wasn't willing to put up with it at all, you know? And I think the power of that experience was that it showed him that he was with someone who actually had serious standards. So because that happened, you know, even though he did have a history of lying and cheating and whatnot, being able to have that honest conversation with him afterwards allowed us to communicate our boundaries, our standards, and the only reason why I let it slide was because logically I knew that we still weren't official, and I was like, I know we weren't official, but here's the thing, I held up my end of the bargain and this motherfucker didn't, but logically we still weren't together. So I was like, okay, maybe give this guy a chance. Which seems very stupid, like looking back right now in retrospect. It seems very stupid. I would not recommend you to do the same thing I did. But behind that bravado of like someone who was a sweet talker and a bullshitter and whatnot, I sensed a spark of like sincerity and ingenuity. And that is why, you know, aside from logically, I knew we weren't together officially, that is the only reason why I decided to give this a chance. And it really was funny because he was so persistent, like he would not let me go, he wouldn't let it go. And I think, you know, I also respected that. And 7 months later, that issue is something that I never really had to worry about again. And I think the reason for that is we both know that if either one of us fucks this up, I'm leaving. Maybe he's leaving too, but I know I would leave, right? It's not something that I'm willing to put up with. You know what I always say is, I didn't invest $40,000 in myself just to put up with this fucking bullshit. And I think that is something that women should remember, no matter where they are in life. It's like knowing that you bring so much to the table and knowing that you can add so much value to someone's life. And when you know your worth, when you know your standards, and when you communicate those standards, people respect that. You know, and those who don't, they just fall out of your life basically. And I think that's one of the reasons why we've still been together and why this has been, you know, a really functional, really healthy relationship. It's because I wasn't willing to put up with his bullshit. And that forced him to face whatever bullshit he's been doing before and know that, you know, he met his match or something like that. He met someone who didn't have the time and didn't have the space for that kind of shit. In a way, I'm pretty glad that happened because it allowed us to have a sincere conversation on what's okay, what's not okay, what's my standards, what's his standards, what are my boundaries and what are his boundaries. And being able to do that cracked open a level of sincerity and a level of understanding and a level of trust that we weren't able to share with other people. one of the things that I learned after being quote unquote betrayed or cheated on by my pseudo ex when I was 18, and I found out that, my first love was pretty much fucking 3, 4, 5, 10, who knows how many other girls behind my back. The lesson I learned there was because we didn't have the tough conversation up front, we didn't really have standards, and we didn't really have boundaries and things that we could hold each other accountable to, because we literally did not have anything. It was nothing. It was fluid, nada. And that's why coming into this relationship, before it even started, there was already that conversation of what's okay, what's not okay. And the things that became foundational for us to build something with trust and with grace and with respect for one another. And honestly, I think that moment has been one of the key ingredients for this relationship even lasting this long, because it literally almost ended before it even started. So I'm grateful for it. It made this relationship all the better, and it also showed me that I did have a true friend who came clean to me and said, this motherfucker was all flirting with me. I'm not sure you want to get with him. Girl, get your ass back to your place. And so that was really valuable too. It showed me that someone did have my back. And, not every single friend is going to be like that. I'm very lucky that, my friend was like that. And we're actually very close. So if there's one thing that I hope you guys got away from this, it's that you don't get what you want. You get what you tolerate. So you need to be very meticulous and very particular about what's okay for you, what's not acceptable, what are your boundaries, what do you want, what do you not like, and how you're treated. And when you have such a strong sense of who you are and a strong sense of what you're worth and your value, then there is no way in fucking hell that you're gonna let someone bullshit you in any way, shape, or form. And that's gonna make someone respect you so much more, and that's gonna make you stand out from every other girl out there, even if they're more talented, smarter, or prettier than you, because you know who you are and you know your worth, and that is so fucking sexy, and that is so fucking rare. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little chat, and if there's anything that you learned, or if you have a similar experience, a similar story, I'd love to hear it. You can email me, or you can just drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and I would really love to hear about what your biggest takeaway from this was. If you like this episode, give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my podcast on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you on the next one.